Today I'm cooking one of the oldest Italian recipes, and also is one of the simplest. And it's really popular in southern Italy because it's based on affordability really, and it's one of those things that you're likely to have all of the ingredients at home, and if you do not know what to make or to cook, you can cook this. I just put this back in the freezer. So, ingredients: 250 grams of petit pois peas. I like these because they are really tender and they release a little bit more flavor. But if you do not have access to petit pois, use normal peas, and these are frozen, by the way. So obviously, if you got fresh peas, even better. I've just chopped in small pieces a white onion. Also, I will be using 1 clove of garlic, and I'll talk to you a little bit about garlic in a moment. Some parsley. This is 50 grams of grated Parmesan cheese. My pasta of choice is macaroni because it's short and it's ideal for pastas like this. But also you can use, if you like, any short pasta like shells or anything that you might want to break, for example. You can even use spaghetti and you can break it. But I would advise that you do use short pasta because this is the sort of dish you eat with your spoon. And olive oil, salt and pepper. I told you it was very simple. So I just added some olive oil into my pan, and I've chopped my onion, as I said, and I'm going to add it. And this is the sort of meal that my mum used to cook a lot when I was a little boy. And then I moved to the UK, married the person behind the camera, and we forgot about this recipe. And one summer we went to visit, and during that visit, bless her, my mum, she had kept some fresh peas that she had been given during the spring, and she put them in the freezer, and she used them to make peas pasta. And Julie and the children, they absolutely loved it, and ever since we've been making it very periodically. And this is a vegetarian version, but also you can switch the Parmesan cheese, if you like, with the vegan style Parmesan cheese, and as it is mostly plant-based, it is perfectly suitable. So my onion is beginning to sizzle, and I've got a clove of garlic. You've seen that actually I have gently crushed it, but I'm leaving it almost whole on purpose, and I'll show you why later. And I'll leave this to simmer for a couple of minutes. No more than 2 minutes, otherwise the onion will brown up too much. And my peas are still frozen, they can go all in. Temperature is medium. I'll leave them for another couple of minutes until they're totally defrosted. This is beautiful as a vegetarian dish, even meat eaters love it. However, if you want to add some meat products, I would advise something pork-based, like bacon, pancetta, or even sausages. But add it now before you do anything else. But also I'm going to add some pepper and some salt, quantities to taste. I think that's perfect. And of course, if you were to add any meat products, ensure that it's browned up before you add some water. This is half a litre of hot water which I've just boiled, and I'll leave it this until it starts boiling now. And they've been cooking for a good 5 minutes now. So this is one of the good tricks about this recipe. First of all, go and dish out the clove of garlic. Make sure that you add it so that you don't forget. And I'm going to move approximately half of my peas and a little bit of the water in a jar like this. Perfect. And I will leave this to continue cooking gently. And here I've got a little hand blender, and I'm going to whisk this until I get a lovely soft cream. You might or you might not be aware, but peas are really good for you. That's why this recipe is in this Food That Looks After You series. They've got a great deal of fiber, but also they're rich in protein. And of course, just like all legumes, they give you plenty of energies all day long. So definitely really good. So I'm adding my sauce back to the pan. I'll make sure that I'll give it a good mix, and straight away, without having to wait, here is my pasta, and I'll take this up though, so that it starts cooking immediately, and I'll pour it in. Little tip, a little water. This is still very hot, and I'm going to rinse my jug and add it in. And I didn't add all of the water I needed at the beginning, because as the pasta cooks, we'll be absorbing the water as well as releasing starches. So I can keep my kettle to hand and add water if I need some more. But I will be able to see that as the pasta will cook. We'll be able to judge how thick this will become. But I'm looking for something which is creamy, soft, and really, really dense. And here is an update. The pasta has been cooking for 5 minutes, but you can see that the level of water has reduced. So it is always easier to add it than obviously adding too much to start with. So I'll just top it up with a little bit more hot water, and I'll continue until the pasta is totally cooked. In Sicily, we often pair peas with mushrooms, and we make like a side dish on a Sunday, and we always use parsley, because I think it's partly cultural but also flavors, and that is what I will be using today. But I'm going to chop it, and you can also use the mint, because mint, it goes really well with peas.
Yeah.
Or if you want, you can also use basil, or again, you do not have to use any herbs, but parsley goes really, really well. And it's one of the things that often people miss as a trick at the end of the recipe, to add something like basil or parsley, because it adds a second layer of freshness. So parsley it is today. Third time lucky. A lot depends from the type of pasta you use, and I'm finding today that actually this is taking a lot more water than normal. So I'll just top it up again for the third time. Also, you will find that it will take slightly longer for the pasta to cook, because I'm keeping it on a just below the medium setting, the temperature. I don't want it to cook too aggressively. I want the flavor to be released into my pasta, and I don't want to keep having to top it up. So that will also take a lot longer to cook, but because the sauce is denser, again the pasta will take longer. So just be a little bit patient, and it's still a very simple recipe. You will appreciate that. Okay, and we are done. And by the way, if anything goes wrong with the video today, Mrs. Tortellino is behind the camera, so we can blame her. No, she's very good actually. This is cooked, so I'll turn it off. And now that it's off, is where I'm going to be adding some of my Parmesan cheese. Actually, I will adding all now.
Wow.
And I'll give it a mix, which is actually, by the way, one of the reasons why, oh, finally, it's so noisy this thing. One of the reasons why I didn't add a lot of salt, especially if you're using pecorino, for example. Pecorino Romano is considerably saltier than Parmigiano, and the risk is obviously that you make it saltier. But add it now at the end, so that it doesn't get stuck to your pan, but also releases more flavor. Then we move on to finishing touch number 2, which you should be expecting this if you watched any of my other video. A little olive oil, and then here is my fresh parsley, which can go on top, and I'll mix it once again, and this is ready to be served. Look at this. You should have something which is called this creaminess in terms of consistency, and the longer obviously you leave it, the more the pasta will continue absorbing the juices. So this needs to be eaten really, really now, hot. So all in all, it took us 20 minutes, and we are videoing. So actually, if you were to cook this at home, most probably you will do in less than 20 minutes. And I'm sure that if you look in your cupboard and you look in your freezer, you got all of the ingredients to make it straight away. And there it is, look, isn't it look absolutely wonderful. Something else I should have said, by the way, is whilst you are frying the onion, if you wanted to, you can add some chili pepper or chili flakes, and will give a little bit more depth. But I wanted to keep this really, really simple. It's absolutely beautiful, and as I said, simple, affordable, and delicious. Thank you for watching. Enjoy if you make it. Ciao, ciao.